Zidane Danny, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Spider-Man PS4 and what they can take from this game and improve to make Spider-Man Miles Morales an even better game. So let's get into Spider-Man PS4 and talk about what they can do to improve for Spider-Man Miles Morales. So the first thing to note is that Spider-Man PS4 is honestly practically a perfect game. There's not much else that they could improve. I mean, obviously, certain things should be improved, such as actual reflections. You'll notice that my character does not have a reflection. That could obviously be improved. It's just really difficult to do that when you're dealing with actual game images because that takes up a lot of information. So if they don't do that, I'm perfectly fine with it. But aside from that, there's not much else to improve on this game. Or so it would seem. After you've basically the only thing that really needs improvement are the side missions. As you'll notice, just as I go through this map, each different segment of Manhattan does have specific things that you need to complete, such as backpacks, side missions, landmarks, the different camps and stuff, research stations, Taskmaster stuff, the Black Cat and pigeons, which was weird, the crimes. Seriously though, the crimes, that's so stupid. They really should have done more with the crimes than just what they did. It's kind of weird how little they did with those. But seriously, all of these different things are actually kind of lacking. Aside from the main mission, you don't really do anything. A lot of the side missions are little minor things. Maybe they'll unlock something, such as how there's a mission that unlocks the pigeons. There's one that unlocks the black cats, the landmarks, the Fisk's hideouts. Actually, I think that was actually in the main game. Seriously, all of these different hideouts and stuff were actually caused by the main game. Meanwhile, Taskmaster, Black Cat, and the pigeons were side missions. I believe Landmarks was also a side mission, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Research stations are also a side mission. But primarily the side missions were just little tasks that could honestly just be compiled into the crimes, and no one would have noticed, I think. I think that honestly what the side missions need to be is repeatable actual missions. Missions to take on different supervillains. The fact of the matter is that the Spider-Man universe has a ton of villains. And that much is obvious because of the DLC. The stuff with Black Cat, I think that's I don't remember what his name is, but yeah, and Silver Sable. These the fact that they were able to make these is proof enough that they have enough characters to actually work with. And they don't even deal with a good amount of the characters. As such, I think that they really should have done more with the different Spider-Man villains, rather than just leave them there. So, yeah, they honestly should have improved that. Next, though, they honestly... Frau. This is gonna get me hated. Honestly, they should have just gotten rid of certain things. The Taskmaster's challenges were fun, but beyond the first time doing them, they're just trying to get a better score so that you can get your better suits or your suit mods. That's it. You'd have no reason to actually complete them beyond that. And the problem is that because of the fact that they are required to get certain things, by the time that you actually complete them, there's no point in actually having them. unless you're going to be redoing the entire story using New Game Plus with everything that you have, which you can do, but it's not as awesome as you might think. Instead, you have a long grind, and then you can go back and do your New Game Plus, sure, but it should be better. There should honestly be a lot of things that you can do after you've completed something. The ultimate weapon is a nice touch in Kingdom Hearts, but if it's something that you can't get until you've defeated the final, or rather the hardest boss, then what is the point? That's one of the biggest problems that I have with Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. And this game does basically that same thing with the suits and stuff, because you need to complete the hardest tasks in order to get some lackluster stuff, such as blast plates. Honestly, how often are you going to get hit by these big blasts? Actually, very rarely. And believe me, I know. I've dealt with it before. So, yeah. I would honestly get rid of the challenge tasks, as they're not really that helpful, at least with getting the items. If you are going to still have them, that's fine, but don't have them be something that you are required to actually get in order to get all the suits and stuff. Maybe have it be one time that you need to get something, but really all that it's going to be afterwards, once you've completed it multiple times and gotten the best score, is some big trophy. That would be really cool, but it's not what we're going to get. So, yeah, seriously, that needs to be improved. Also, the rest of the map. I think that we should be allowed to go outside of Manhattan to these other areas around in New York. These are still New York City after all, but instead we just focus on Manhattan. It's kind of disappointing. And I know that that they're probably not going to allow you to go out to every single bit of New York, but allowing the player to have a bit more space to play around in would honestly benefit the game a whole bunch. And I think a lot of fans would be extremely ecstatic to get to play around in the outside areas. Next, though, is the suits. Honestly, the suit idea is a lot of fun, and getting to play around with it makes a lot of sense for Peter. But considering the fact that this game isn't about Peter, it is about Miles, means that there is no real need for these suits. Miles doesn't have a whole bunch of Spidey suits. Peter has been around for a long time and has gotten a lot of suits in a lot of different ways. The reason for them is honestly really fun, such as Bagman Spider-Man, or the Future Foundation suit, or literally any of these suits has an amazing story behind them. But for Miles, there's nothing. He's basically just Spider-Man with two suits. He has his spray paint suit that we know from the movie, and then he has his normal suit that it actually looks like a Spider-Man suit. And that's it. He doesn't have any others. So instead, I think that they should focus on, well, more characters. The ability to play with different characters would honestly benefit this game a lot more than you would actually think. Spider-Man is great and all, but he's not the only hero in this universe, nor is he the only Spider-Man. If we could actually get to play with these other Spider-Men, then we would benefit significantly. So instead of collecting all of these suits, perhaps instead you collect the heroes, doing different side missions as them to eventually be able to use them in the actual gameplay. Now, obviously, switching between them I don't know if it should be as easy as click the button, go to your suits, suit powers, and then boom, you switch your characters. but I think that would be a beneficial way to do it. A good way to actually handle this is to have the suit powers be the way that you decide your characters, such as the first two could easily be Miles. Miles invisibility, Miles electric, because of the fact that that's actually what he kind of these there are two suits that actually have this kind of stuff. I'm not remembering the exact placement of them, but there are two characters that or spots that actually do that. The same abilities that he has. There's one that turns him invisible and one that shocks people. And that would honestly be a better way to actually handle things. And once you've actually gained these other suits, or these other characters, then it will add into that. Maybe Gwen has some supersonic thing because of the fact that she's in a band. Maybe, I don't know, Penny has a frickin' technological thing, kind of like the holo decoy. I don't know. And the quips thing would honestly be a interesting thing to see with Peter Porker, or just allow him to summon different items. As for the suits, I think that it would be actually really cool for these suits, instead of being would actually change based off your character. You could wear the different suits of the different people. Let's say Miles has his first two suits up at the front. Then you could have Gwen, Peter Porker, so on and so forth. And they have their different models depending on who you're playing as for your character. It would honestly be a much better way to have it, considering the fact that Miles is much more connected to the Spider-Verse than Peter is, which is weird considering how many Peters there are, but still, it would have been a much better option in the long run. As for gadgets, they're fine. All the different web shooters, it's good. I honestly would just, I would say allow them to be upgrade a bit more, and then it's good. Maybe some of them could be replaced, some of them could be added, and different things like that, but that's pretty much it for the gadgets situation. The skill trees. They honestly should have been made more like skill trees. Once you reach 50, congratulations, or actually even earlier, I think maybe at 30, you can actually complete all of these skill trees really easily, which is kind of sad. I think that they should be more in tune with who you are as a player. You should be able to choose a different way that you want to play. Do you want to be someone who is combative? Do you want to be someone who is who defends themselves a lot with more defense and stuff? Or do you want to be using web slinging a lot more? These different skills would be more beneficial with depending on how you want to actually play around with your character. And you could change these depending on which character you're playing as, such as, again, Miles or Gwen or whatever. That would be a much better way to handle the skills. I've already talked about missions. They need to add more and they need to have them be more connected, but that's pretty much it. As for collections, when they go into collections, these different items should be better suited. While obviously certain ones can just be gimmicks, other ones, in fact a good amount of them, should be something that once you get it, it gives you an ability to change certain things. Such as, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, when you get cracked lenses, for example, once you get those, you can actually look at them and realize, oh, I could actually improve these now and get a much better suit. And different situations like that. Or perhaps these different items would be beneficial as different ways that you can give them to different people and improve the world. Just improving the world around you. It would honestly be an interesting situation to see. But that's pretty much all that I would change for the collections. Have them be more important than just, ooh, you can listen to this now, or you can read this now, instead of what they currently are, which is nothing, basically. Benchmarks are fine. Character list is fine. I think that they should have a little bit more into this, but that's just how I am. I'm always going to be wanting more stuff with these different situations, but that's just me. The move list is fine. Get rid of DLC. They need to be able to have the game all be within the game. The DLC, I know that some people really liked having the DLC, but it's honestly not that great in my opinion, so I would just remove it. But that's just me. And that's pretty much all that needs to be explained for what Spider-Man Miles Morales needs to change. Like I said, the normal Spider-Man PS4 is a fantastic game that doesn't really need much improvement overall. But if we do give it some new information and tell the creators of Spider-Man or Spider-Man PS4 that these things need to change for Miles Morales, then they may listen to us and actually work to make the game an even better situation than it ever has been before. Meaning that Spider-Man PS5 Miles Morales will honestly be a fantastic game for many years to come. And now that they are actually working more hand in hand with Disney, it may be a better option to now be able to do more stuff with the actual with the actual crew behind the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Honestly, I'm not sure, but it's still something to at least be thinking about more. More Marvel heroes and more Marvel villains would honestly benefit this entire series way more. But I don't know. Anyways, guys, let me know down in the comments below what you think of Spider-Man PS4 going now into Miles Morales. What do you think needs to be added, and what do you think needs to be removed? Of course, if you do have any theories about anything that I talk about on this channel, make sure to leave them down in the comments below and use the hashtag #TheoryReview. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and ring that notification bell. But anyways, guys, I've been Electro Ninja, and I'll see you guys next time. But on!